Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Jimbo, and today I wanted to do a quick video on these two big tanks that a lot of you have been noticing in some of the videos. These are my deionized water tanks. So I'm going to talk a little bit about them, why I chose these over something like the CR Spotless or the, there's a few other brand, Griots has a littler version of this that's a little bit more portable. And so I wanted to talk about these tanks. And I have two tanks that you can see are connected through this top connector here, and the reason why I have two tanks is basically because I want a lot of output of deionized water. These are different than soft water tanks that some people do put into their house. This has the resin in it, and basically you get per tank for this size, you get about 800 gallons or so of deionized water. Now, and how it works is basically I take my garden hose, and this could be set up a little bit better, but this is basically how to get fresh, clean deionized water into the back of my mobile detailing setup. So, and it just so happened that it fit really nicely in my garage here. So, and I rent these tanks, so I'm actually do need to fill up my water tank, so I'll do this kind of as I get going. This is wonky because I'm trying to do it the opposite of how my brain normally works. So I rent these tanks because when I went back to having a water tank inside of my truck, I looked at the CR Spotless, I looked at the Griots one, I looked at, you know, doing the resin exchange myself, and what I came to the conclusion of is that those systems may be great to look aesthetically pleasing on a wall, or even in the back of a truck or something like that, but for what the purposes I need and the amount of water that I will need, I would just simply be blowing through the resin. And when you look at the initial investment to buy those tanks, and then you look at the amount of resin that I would potentially be going through, it quickly becomes not worth it, just purely from a fact that I would be buying so many resin bags so often. And when you're looking at a CR Spotless that's getting 300 to 400 gallons of water before you need to change it, it just becomes extremely ineffective and expensive. Whereas these tanks currently, the tag says that I got these on June 20th. It's currently October, mid-October, and I haven't changed them yet, so call it, I'll at least make it to the 20th, probably even past that. The water seems to be totally fine. You can add connectors to this with lights or meters so you can gauge exactly how much water you're getting out of these. I don't have that because I do it mainly by feel and by amount of time. So I'm pushing 4 months on these tanks. To rent these tanks, both of them, is $27 a month, and now the company will come out and exchange them whenever I call them to do that, and when they do that, it's $50. So, and there was a small upfront deposit, but very minimal. I think I paid a $75 deposit on them. Had them 4 months, so I'm looking at, you know, under $100 or a little over $100 to get my first. I got to be pushing almost 2,000 gallons of water. I'm using a lot more water than I initially thought. And as you can see, these sneak, they are big and they are heavy. And also, side note, you could probably change out the resin yourself, but I'm just not going to deal with it. I know it's probably not that difficult, but there's not enough information out on the internet for how to actually do it properly. So I'm just gonna, for 50 bucks, they come deliver 2 fresh new tanks, take the old ones away, and I don't worry about it. So how I do it in this connector hose right here is so that I can pull resin or pull fresh water from both tanks. Again, just extending the life of how long I can go. And I do use a lot of water. I've had tanks like this for a long time. The company that I used to use that I would not recommend locally to Orange County, or if you're in the Southern California area, I used to use a company called South Coast Water. I would not recommend them. And a lot of these water companies that are doing small DI water tanks, these are surprisingly small compared to some of the industrial uses that these get used for. Their customer service just sucks. I mean, even this company that I'm currently using, their customer service is okay, and it's a lot better than South Coast Water, but it's not nearly as good. They really don't care about your business, it feels like. And the company is It says WWC Inc. I think it's Rain Industrial Water Management. So basically, let's see if it says up here. This says Pacific Industrial Water Systems. And I just found them through a simple Google search. So if you Google search, I think GE actually has a water rental tank system, or if you have a local pressure washer company that sells pressure washers and stuff like that, you can get tanks like this. This is way more efficient. I was buying water locally. I started with these tanks back in 2008, had them for a long time. When I got rid of the water tank and the pressure washer, I got rid of the tanks as well because I didn't need them. And then more recently, I wasn't sure if I wanted to get big tanks like this. I really wanted to go for like a CS water system, something smaller. I looked at the griots. There's a couple other really small tanks that you can purchase. I think the griots is like 300 bucks. It looks like this, but about half the size. And I looked at some of those other options, and I just came to the conclusion that it was going to end up either costing me more money or be more headache to get it. So that's why I went back and I found this company as a rental. Again, I found them through a simple Google search. So, and you could, if you wanted to hook these up directly to a pressure washer, you could definitely do that. The reason why I have it set up the way I do is because I'm getting water from the garden hose through the tanks into my water tank, which then I run my pressure washer from the water tank. You could definitely configure this to run straight from a water tank. So if you have a shop or a detail shop or a place, you could even take these mobilely. A lot of window cleaners will do that because they'll tap into their customers' water. So if you wanted to carry these and not have a water tank, you could definitely do that, but you will need a water source. So there's a lot of options that you can do with them. Let me show you how I'm doing it myself, again, to get water into my water tank. So I have the line in, which is from my garden hose, which is over there. Again, it could be nicer, but I wanted the tanks over here, not by the garden hose and whatever. So it looks a little wonky as it is set up now, but that's just how it goes. So then I have the line in, and then over here there's a valve and a line out. So I will take a secondary hose, and this hose is the one that goes all the way into my water tank. And then once I have that secondary hose in my water tank, I go back to the faucet, and actually you could do it now. You could even do it now, but there's the on-off valve or whatever you call this thing here. And so you could have this off, you could go turn on the water. Once you have this hose in the tank, you can turn the water on. There is a little bit of back pressure if you do it that way. So what I tend to do is leave this open. I wait until I have that hose into my water tank, and then I go over, turn on the water, and voila. But like I said, these are industrial tanks, so you're gonna get way more DI water out of these than you would out of the CR Spotless. Even the little griots. The little griots is perfect if you're going mobile and portable. I've worked with those before. And there's a few other, there's a black tank that looks very similar to the griots, but it's a black tank. But again, for the $300 upfront investment in those, plus the resin, there's no good information that I could find on how much resin you use per like 100 gallons of water. I just couldn't find it. There's not enough good information. So for the 4 months that I've had these, I'm still getting clean DI water. And so if you're a mobile detailer looking to get high quality DI water without going to the local detail supply store, waiting in line, paying the 10 cents a gallon for that, this is a great option to have directly at your house. So hope that video helped. There was a few people asking questions about those, and again, if I could reference the video to something in the backdrop, that's a lot easier than trying to type in the comments all the time. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Subscribe for more. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your DI water setup is, and maybe there's an option that I don't know about. That would be a better option than renting, because the only downside to this is you are renting them. So you can purchase them, but they're normally pretty expensive if you're purchasing directly from the rental place. I think it's like $300 or $400 per tank, and then you're still left with got to switch out the resin. So if there's a better option that you know about, I'd love to hear it. I wouldn't mind not renting tanks and just buying them, but honestly, for the hassle and all that, it just didn't seem worth it. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. I will catch you guys